My wife declared, while planning a new life. I don't want to save our marriage. I've found someone else. I replied, you've made your decision, but tomorrow the lawyer has a surprise for you. My world collapsed in one night. Holding my wife's purse at a party, I discovered messages that shattered 15 years of marriage. What I did next was my greatest victory. I am Javier Morales. I am 42 years old, and I run 3 sports bars in Madrid. It all started in a bar in Malesana, my first dream come true. With hard work, I turned it into a small empire where people come to watch soccer, have a beer, and escape their problems. I met Sofia when I was 25 years old. She, at 22, was an ambitious recent marketing graduate, full of energy and dreams. We got married in Segovia in a simple but unforgettable wedding. And soon our children arrived. Lucia, 14 years old, and Mateo, 11. We were a team, or so I thought. 2 years ago, Sofia was promoted to marketing director at a large agency in Madrid. Her work days grew longer, dinners with clients, work trips, weekends at the office. I did not understand, my bars also consumed me. But something changed. Sofia started receiving late-night calls that she would answer in a low voice, moving away to the balcony or locking herself in our room. It is work, Javier, do not be paranoid, she would say when I asked. Her tone was sharp, as if I were the problem. The name Carlos began to come up too often. He is a colleague from the creative department, Sofia would explain. We are working together on the Torres and Company campaign. It is a key project. I tried to trust her, but my gut screamed the opposite. Lucia noticed it too. Mom is always on her phone. She seems like a different person, she told me one night during dinner. Mateo, being younger, just complained that Mom no longer played with him. I tried to calm them. She is under a lot of pressure, but inside me, doubt was growing like a storm. The breaking point came on a Tuesday. I closed my bar in Chueca early and arrived home at 8 p.m., expecting to find Sofia helping Mateo with his homework. The house was silent. Lucia was in her room, and Mateo was playing in the living room. Where is Mom? I asked. She said she had an emergency meeting and would be back late. Lucia replied without looking up from her book. But her laptop was in the kitchen, charging. What kind of urgent meeting does not require your computer? I could not take it anymore. The next morning, while Sofia was showering, I did the unthinkable. I checked her phone. Her password was still Lucia's birthday. What I found chilled my blood. Messages with Carlos from the night before. I miss you. I cannot wait for the conference in Barcelona. Sofia replied. Me neither, but we must be discreet. There were dozens of messages, months of intimate conversations, plans for getaways, hotel reservations. I took screenshots with trembling hands and went out to the living room. When Sofia came out of the bathroom, she found me sitting with her phone in my hand. What are you doing, Javier? She said, her voice sharp. I think that question is for you. I replied, standing up. Who is Carlos and why are you planning hotels with him? Her face turned pale, but instead of confessing, she attacked. How dare you check my phone? It is an invasion of my privacy. Privacy? I retorted. We have been married for 15 years, Sofia. There should not be secrets involving another man. She tried to deny it. We are just friends. We collaborate at work. But I showed her a message. Last night was incredible. I cannot stop thinking about you. She broke down, tears in her eyes. It was not my intention, Javier. It was a mistake. The stress from work. Carlos understands what I am going through. And me? I did not scream. I have been with you every step of the way, taking care of the children while you travel. What more did you want from me? Sofia sobbed. I do not know if our marriage can continue. Maybe we have changed. Her words were a dagger. The woman I loved was no longer there. I took a bag and went to my brother Alvaro's house. I needed space to think. Alvaro, who went through a divorce, listened to me without judging. Are you sure you want to end this? He asked while we had a beer. It is not about ending it, I said. It is about the fact that she already did. I decided to act. I hired Laura Gomez, a lawyer specializing in divorces, and showed her the screenshots. This is solid, Laura said. In Spain, infidelity can influence the settlement. Document everything. Finances, properties, any expense related to the affair. Meanwhile, Sofia tried to manipulate me. She bombarded me with apology messages mixed with reproaches. You are also to blame. You are always in your bars. I did not reply, but Lucia called me, worried. Dad, Mom is acting strange. She cries all the time and talks to herself. I think something is wrong. I told her I would go talk, but that this was between us. Are you getting a divorce? She asked. I do not know yet, but you two will always be first. The tension grew when Sophia invited me to a company party for an important contract. I need you to come, Javier. I want everyone to see that we are fine, she said. I knew it was a performance to save her image. I accepted, not for her, but because I wanted to see her world with my own eyes. The company party was being held in a luxury hotel in the center of Madrid. As we drove, Sophia was tense, checking her phone every 2 minutes. This is important for my career, Javier. I need us to be in this together, she said, squeezing my arm. I nodded, but my mind was elsewhere. I had spoken with Laura, my lawyer, that very morning. The screenshots of the messages with Carlos were just the beginning. Laura had discovered suspicious expenses on our joint accounts, hotel reservations in Barcelona, expensive dinners, even a plane ticket that Sophia never mentioned. Everything pointed to a calculated betrayal. We entered the event hall, full of executives and Sophia's colleagues. She introduced me to her boss, Mr. Torres, and several co-workers, including Marta Lopez, her main rival for the promotion to regional director. Pleased to meet you, Javier, Marta said with a smile that seemed to know more than she was letting on. Sophia maintained her role as the perfect wife, touching my shoulder and smiling for photos, but I observed every detail. How she avoided looking at certain colleagues, how her laugh sounded forced when someone mentioned the Torres and Company project. An hour later, Sophia asked me to hold her purse. I am going to the bathroom. I will be back in a moment, she said, leaving it in my hands. It was then that I saw it. Her phone, unlocked, at the top of the purse. I did not hesitate. I opened the messaging app and found a new thread with Carlos. I wish you were here tonight, he had written that same afternoon. It is hard to pretend with Javier. Sophia's response was a punch. Just a few more weeks. When I get the promotion, I will be able to leave it all behind and be with you. My pulse quickened. Not only was she still with Carlos, but she was planning to leave me after using the party to secure her promotion. I quickly took screenshots and sent them to my email. Then, I took a pen and a napkin from the bar. I wrote, I hope Carlos is worth destroying our family for. Lucia and Mateo deserve a mother who does not lie. I took off my wedding ring, wrapped it in the napkin, and put it in her purse. I closed the purse and left it on the table, exactly where she had left it. Without waiting for her return, I walked to the exit, handed the ticket to the valet, and went home. Half an hour later, my phone began to vibrate. Sophia. Call after call, messages I did not read. I turned off the phone and sat in the living room, looking into the darkness. I knew she had found the ring and the note, probably in front of her colleagues. Let her explain that to her boss. Let Marta Lopez use it against her. I felt liberated, but also broken. 15 years of marriage, 2 children, and everything reduced to a betrayal exposed on a napkin. The next morning, Sophia arrived home at 2 in the morning. I had locked our bedroom door, so she slept on the couch. I heard her cry until dawn. When I came down at 7, she was in the kitchen, a mess, still in her party dress. We need to talk, Javier, she said, her voice breaking. No, we have nothing to talk about, I replied, pouring myself a coffee. Your note made it clear. You do not understand what you have done, she said, raising her voice. Mr. Torres saw when I opened the purse. Marta was there. Do you know how humiliating that was? Humiliating, I retorted. Humiliating is discovering that your wife is planning to divorce you while pretending to save the marriage. How long have you been talking to Carlos about leaving me? Sophia collapsed, tears running down her cheeks. It is not what you think. They were just conversations. Possibilities. Possibilities, I said, showing a screenshot on my phone. Just a few more weeks, and I will be able to leave it all behind. That does not sound like a possibility. Sophia stood up, furious. Do you want to know why, Javier? Because you are absent, always in your bars, always with your employees. When was the last time we really talked? Absent, I shouted. I have raised our children while you traveled. I have supported your career, paid for your courses, your trips, and you run off with Carlos. You use our money for your dates. Is that my fault? Sophia fell silent, with no arguments. I am going to file for divorce, I said. Laura has everything ready. The papers will arrive at your office on Monday. She sank into the chair. Think about the children, Javier. We can get through this. The children will be fine, I said. They know that love does not include lies. You chose Carlos. Now, face the consequences. That afternoon, Lucia and Mateo found me in the living room. I explained what had happened, without crude details. So you are getting a divorce? Mateo asked with glassy eyes. Yes, Mom and I cannot be together anymore. But this does not change how much we love you. Lucia, more mature, said, I heard Mom talking to someone on the phone. It did not sound like work. I want to stay with you, Dad. Mateo nodded. Me too. This is my home. The following days were a whirlwind. Sophia tried to contact me nonstop. Calls, messages, even notes left in the mailbox. Javier, we can fix this for the children, one of her texts read. But I had already made my decision. Laura, my lawyer, advised me to remain silent. Let her wear herself out. Every message you ignore strengthens our case. I focused on Lucia and Mateo, making sure they felt stable. I took them to soccer games and to dinner with my parents, keeping their routine intact. On Monday, the divorce papers were delivered to Sophia's office. As promised, Laura had prepared a solid case. The screenshots, the records of expenses on hotels and dinners, and even a report from a private detective I hired after the party. The detective confirmed that Sofia and Carlos had met at a hotel in Barcelona during a supposed work trip. Every piece of evidence was a nail in the coffin of our marriage. That same afternoon, Sofia came home furious. How could you do this at my job? She yelled, entering the living room where I was reviewing invoices from the bars, serving me the papers in front of my colleagues. You chose to lie in front of them, I replied without raising my voice. If you were worried about your image, you should have thought about that before planning your life with Carlos. Sofia tried to change tactics, softening her tone. Javier, please, can we go to therapy, start over? But her words sounded hollow, like a rehearsed script. There is no therapy that can fix betrayal, Sofia. This ends in court. To my surprise, Lucia entered at that moment. Mom, why do not you tell the truth? She said with a maturity that surprised me. I heard you talking to that man. It is not the first time. Sofia froze. Honey, it is not what you think. Stop, Mom, Lucia interrupted. Dad has always been here. You have not. Mateo, from the hallway, added, I want to stay with Dad. Sofia broke down, but did not insist. She went to her sister's house that night, taking only one suitcase. Laura warned me that the process would be tough. Sofia could fight back, claiming you neglected the marriage for your bars, she said. But I had proof of my commitment, receipts from family activities, messages where I supported her trips, even emails where I organized dinners to surprise her. In Spain, infidelity does not always affect custody or assets, Laura explained, but your case is strong. You have been the pillar of the family. Meanwhile, my brother Alvaro helped me keep a cool head. You are doing the right thing, Javier, he told me one night at his apartment. Do not let her manipulate you with tears. I nodded, but the pressure was building. The bars required my attention, and the children needed me more than ever. One night, Lucia found me in the kitchen. Dad, are you okay? She asked. I will be, sweetheart. I just want what is best for you too. She smiled. We know. That is why we chose you. The next twist came a week later. Marta Lopez, Sofia's rival, contacted me on LinkedIn. Javier, I need to talk to you. It is about Sofia and the job. We met at a cafe near my bar in Malesana. Marta was direct. Sofia has been using company resources for her encounters with Carlos. She billed dinners and trips as client expenses. Torres found out after the party, and he is furious. She showed me internal emails that confirmed it. Why are you telling me this? I asked. Because I want the promotion and Sofia does not deserve it. But also because I saw how she looked at you at the party. You do not deserve what she did to you. I gave the emails to Laura, who added them to the file. This could cost Sofia her job, she said, and it will strengthen your case for the assets and custody. I did not feel joy, only relief. The truth was coming to light, and Sofia would pay the consequences of her choices. The divorce process moved forward like a relentless machine. Laura, my lawyer, presented the evidence in court, screenshots of Sofia's messages with Carlos, records of improper expenses on joint accounts, and the emails that Marta Lopez had provided me. The latter were a devastating blow. They showed that Sofia had billed dinners, trips, and even a spa stay as client expenses to cover up her meetings with Carlos. Laura was confident. This not only proves infidelity, but also a breach of trust and misuse of resources. The judge will not overlook it. Meanwhile, Sofia was facing her own chaos. One morning, Lucia showed me a message her mother had sent her. "Tell your father I do not want to fight. Can we negotiate?" I told Lucia not to respond. "This is for adults, honey. You concentrate on your exams." But the pressure was not only coming from Sofia. At the company, things were falling apart for her. Marta called me a few days later to inform me. Torres fired Sofia. Yesterday, they discovered more irregularities in her expenses. Not only did she lose the promotion, but now she is jobless. I did not feel satisfaction, just a strange calm. The consequences of her actions were catching up to her without me having to do anything more. At home, I made sure that Lucia and Mateo felt secure. I took them to games. We organized pizza nights with their friends and even planned a trip to Valencia for the holidays. But one night, while Mateo was playing on his console, he asked me, "Dad, will Mom be okay?" I sighed. "She made mistakes, little guy, but she is strong. She will find her way. The important thing is that you two are here with me." Lucia, who was listening from the doorway, added, "I do not want her to come back home, Dad. Not after what she did." Her tone was firm, but her eyes showed pain. "We will decide that in time," I said. "For now, this is our home, and no one will force you to do anything." The trial came 2 months later. Sofia showed up with a lawyer who seemed more interested in reaching an agreement than in fighting. The judge reviewed the evidence and showed no sympathy for her. "The lady has acted with malicious intent, hiding serious facts and using marital resources for personal purposes," he said. "They granted me primary custody of Lucia and Mateo, the house, and financial compensation. Sofia had to pay child support, although her dismissal complicated things. Carlos, as I learned from Marta, had also fallen from grace. He was permanently transferred to a minor office in Barcelona, and his own marriage fell apart after his affair was discovered. Days after the ruling, Sofia asked to meet me at a cafe. I agreed, more to close the chapter than out of hope. She was gaunt, without the glow she used to have. "Javier, I did not want it to end like this," she said, stirring her coffee without looking at me. "I just want the children to be well." "They are well," I replied, "but no thanks to you. You chose Carlos, you lied, you used our money. This is what happens when you break a family." She tried to reply, but I raised my hand. "There is nothing more to say, Sofia. Sign the papers and move on." That night, I spoke with Lucia and Mateo. I explained the judge's ruling, assuring them that they could see their mother whenever they wanted. "I do not want a dad," Lucia said. "Maybe someday, but not now." Mateo nodded, more quietly. I knew that time would heal some wounds, but not all of them. My priority was to protect them and give them stability. Meanwhile, my bars were thriving. I signed a contract to open a 4th location in Chimbury, and the projections were better than ever. Without the weight of a broken marriage, I could focus on my children and my business. Alvaro summed it up one night. "You have come out stronger, brother. She lost more than you did." And he was right. Months after the divorce, my life had found a new rhythm. The judge's sentence was a turning point. I obtained primary custody of Lucia and Mateo, the family home in Madrid, and financial compensation that reflected the damage caused by Sofia's actions. She, for her part, faced the consequences of her decisions. Without a job at Torres and Company, after the scandal of the improper expenses, she found a minor position in a small agency with a salary that barely covered child support. Carlos, according to rumors, had no better luck. His transfer to Barcelona was a disguised demotion, and his wife left him after discovering the truth, taking most of their assets. I focused on rebuilding our life. Lucia, at 14, threw herself into her studies and the volleyball team, determined to get into a good university. Mateo, at 11, joined a local soccer club and spent his afternoons training. I took them to their activities, organized game nights with their friends, and we planned short getaways like a weekend in Toledo. I wanted them to feel that, despite everything, our home was still a refuge. One night, as we were making dinner together, Lucia said, "Dad, you are a better cook than Mom." But Mateo added, "And you are here?" She was always busy. Their words hurt, but they also gave me strength. The children were not only accepting the new reality, but they preferred it. Sophia tried to reach out several times. She sent messages asking to see the children more often, but Lucia and Mateo were clear. They only accepted visits every 2 weeks and preferred them to be short. "I do not like how she acts now," Lucia told me after one of those visits. "She is always apologizing to us, but she does not seem sincere." I tried to mediate, reminding them that Sophia was still their mother, but I respected their decision. "Give her time," I told them. "She has to find her way, just like us." Deep down, I knew that broken trust is not repaired with empty apologies. My bars, meanwhile, were flourishing. The new location in Chambéry opened with a grand inauguration, and the numbers exceeded expectations. I hired a trusted manager to delegate more responsibilities, which allowed me to spend time with the children. I also took up hobbies I had abandoned, like playing padel with Alvaro and my old friends. One afternoon, while we were having a beer after a match, Alvaro looked at me and said, "Javier, you are different. Lighter, as if you have gotten something back." "Not something," I replied, "myself." And it was true. Without the weight of Sophia's lies, I could breathe again. The final twist came unexpectedly. One afternoon, during one of Lucia's volleyball games, I met Elena, the mother of a teammate. We had talked before at the games about the challenges of raising teenagers and the madness of school schedules. Elena was direct, with a sense of humor that made me laugh effortlessly. "Javier, do you ever rest from your bars?" she joked once while we shared a coffee in the stands. "Only if I am invited for a coffee better than this one," I replied. She smiled. "It is a deal." A week later, Elena showed up at my bar in Malisana. "Lucia told me you would be here," she said, sitting at the bar. "I thought you could use a conversation that does not revolve around teenagers or invoices." We talked for hours, about everything and nothing, from Real Madrid games to the trips we wanted to take someday. It was not just her laugh or the way she listened. It was the feeling of not having to analyze every word, of not walking on eggshells. For the first time in years, I felt a genuine interest in getting to know someone. I did not dive in head first. The children were my priority, and I made that clear to Elena when we started seeing each other more. "Lucia and Mateo come first," I told her on our third date, at a quiet restaurant in Lavapiés. "I understand," she replied. "I am a mother, Javier. I know how it works." Her daughter, Clara, got along well with Lucia, and soon I saw them making plans together. Mateo, more reserved, took longer to accept her, but one day I caught him laughing with her while they were playing soccer in the park. "She is nice, Dad," he told me later. Not like, he did not need to finish the sentence. A year after the divorce, my life was unrecognizable, but in the best way. The bars were going strong, with plans for a 5th location in Salamanca. Lucia and Mateo were happy, secure, and beginning to open up to the idea that our family could grow in new ways. Sophia, for her part, was still trying to rebuild her life. I learned from a mutual friend that she had broken up with Carlos and was in therapy, trying to understand her mistakes. I did not feel resentment, only indifference. She had chosen her path, and I had chosen mine. One night, as I was closing the bar in Chueca, Elena came to pick me up. "Ready for that beer I owe you?" she asked with a smile. I nodded, feeling something I thought I had forgotten: hope. Sophia had broken me, but she had also freed me. At 42 years old, with 2 incredible children, a thriving business, and a woman who made me want to look to the future, I understood that I had made it. I had gotten my life back, and, this time, it was mine to live on my own terms.